Hi, and welcome to the Compensation Mastery Tool Results Step Tab 2, the income tax analysis for the current job. In this tab, we go over the estimated federal, FICA, and state income taxes for the inputs that we put in for this job. Let's take a look. So at the top here, we start off with a pie chart, and this shows a summary of all the components of the compensation that we inputted for the job. We'll go from top to bottom on the right side here. First, we show the total compensation. This is all the components, the salary, the bonuses, the subsidies, all those things. This is before tax, before your costs. Next, we show the gross earnings, which is only the salary and bonuses. That's the taxable income. So for this job, it was $99,000. Next, we show the summary, the summation of the total taxes. That's federal, FICA, and state. In this case, it was a little over $16,000. So we go 99,000 minus 16 and change, and our net earnings for this position are a little over $82,000. Next, we input the other income. This is your investment matches and your subsidies. These are not subject to income tax. Well, the investment matches eventually will be when you retire and withdraw them eventually. But for now, for this year, for next year, before you retire, there's no income tax liabilities on them. And what you'll see here is intentionally, I made very generous subsidies for this particular job. It was like $12,000 for childcare and $6,000 more for education benefits. So, and there are other ones as well, in there as well. So that was $34,000, $34,100 of other non-taxable income. That is significant, but that can be the case for a job. And this is why it's important to look at not just the earnings or not just the salary and bonus, because there could be other income that could be very valuable when you add it all up together. Next, we show your costs, which was commute costs, healthcare estimates for premiums and for your out-of-pocket expenses for healthcare, and other costs like preparation costs. That was a little over $8,000. And so what we end up with is a net compensation after taxes, after costs of $108,151. So on the pie chart, we see we got the net earnings, which is all your earnings after taxes. We got the taxes up here, federal, FICA, and state. And then the other income is on the left side here. Next, we'll scroll down. And this is where we go into a deep dive on the federal, FICA, and state income taxes one at a time. So we can click the carrots on the right side to drop them down, or click expand all. I'll click expand all. Let's start with the federal taxes here. So we start off in the upper left corner with our taxable income of $99,000. That was that same salary plus bonuses. And from left to right, we see the progressive income tax of the federal tax system. So the more money you earn, the more percentage you're taxed on each tranche or each step of income that you have, as dictated by the IRS. And so for this example, we put head of household because you're not married and you have 2 children. And so for that, these are the tax brackets and the rates of each bracket. So on the left side, we'll start here, is the blue box here, which is the standard deduction, total deductions. You are taxed at 0% on those, no income tax whatsoever, which is great. And the total deductions comprise the standard deduction of $20,800 for a head of household filer for 2023. And you can also deduct your health insurance premiums that you inputted, which was $4,500. So our total deductions for this example is $25,300. Again, no taxes on that. But you made a total of $99,000 of taxable income. So now we have to go up the steps here. The first one is a 10% bracket, and it's the next $11,000 is taxed at this 10%. So that means that out of this $11,000, you pay $1,100 in taxes, and you get to net $9,900. And the red lines here are the taxes that are owed for each of those brackets, each of those steps. And the gray part is the net that you get to keep after paying those taxes for each bracket. Same thing with the 12% bracket. The numbers aren't as round, it's $33,724. And then the 22% bracket, we touched that as well with our $99,000. And those are the numbers there. On the right side, we see the total amount of taxes that you'll pay according to the brackets. So you see we've got the $99,000 of the gross, the taxable income. And if we add up the red slices on each of these tax steps, it comes out to a total of $11,521. So our total tax from the brackets is $11,521. But there's a deduction. Because you have 2 kids and because you're under a certain income threshold, you can deduct $2,000 from your taxes per dependent. So in our example, we have 2 dependents, so we can deduct $4,000 off of our taxes, which is great. Taxes are way better than credit. A credit is way better than a deduction. Deduction just lowers this amount here, lowers the taxable income, but a credit reduces dollar for dollar your income tax liability. So that leaves us for a total federal estimated tax of $7,521. Below here, this yellow gradations here is the same information, just shown in a bit different way. In case this graph is too busy for you, you can look at this one down here. We've got the 0%, your deductions here from $0 to $25,300. Then we got the 10% bracket, 12% bracket, and 22% bracket. And on the bottom, we show the income tax liability for each of those brackets. Okay, let's move on to the FICA tax. So we'll start on the left side here. They also have a deduction, but you see it's a different amount. It's not the same as the federal amount. And that's because FICA does not have any kind of standard deduction. The only thing you can deduct from your taxable income for FICA taxes is your health insurance premiums, which was $4,500. So only the first $4,500 of your FICA tax liability is 0. The next one is the only bracket that this income touches, and that's 7.65%. And so here on this amount, the tax is a little over $7,000. You'll see that these numbers here, the percents are lower. That is correct. So it is regressive in some way. If you want to, I do have a video up talking about FICA tax in more detail and why that is the case, but these are the correct numbers. So we'll go to the right side, same thing as before, it's the total. And here it adds up the total tax, which is the same as the column since we only touch one tax bracket. And we add back in that $4,500 of deduction. So it shows the same $99,000 of taxable income and a total FICA tax of $72.29 from the brackets. Unfortunately, FICA does not have a tax credit for dependents or anything else. So there's no subtractions from the credits for FICA tax. So that leaves us with a total FICA tax of $72.29. Here again, the yellow gradations show the same information, but just in a bit of a different format. Last, let's go down to the state income tax. For this example, we chose the state of Florida as our residence. We have the same $99,000 taxable income. And here we'll start off with the deductions again, and you'll see it's different numbers still. That's because all states can file or have their own tax laws with their own deduction amounts, their own credits, their own tax brackets. Some have no income taxes, like Florida or Texas. Some have a flat tax, which is only one rate, like the state of Pennsylvania. And other ones have the same or a similar progressive tax where they have multiple steps. And the more you make, the higher percentage you pay for each of those little steps. So for California, in this example, again, Mary filing head of household filing status, the standard deduction for the California is $10,404. And they also allow you to deduct the same $4,500 of health insurance premiums. Some states do have a personal exemption, and some other states have a dependent deduction. California does not offer either one of those, but some states do. So the total deduction for California is $14,904. So that first $14,904 taxed at 0%. And then you'll see the California state tax structure has lower percentages, as do most states compared to federal. So the first one is only a 1% tax rate. So the first, after deductions, the first $20,212 is taxed at only 1%, or $202. We have to go all the way up to hit the $99,000. So we got the 2% bracket, 4% bracket, 6% bracket, and 8% bracket as well. And on the right side, we add all those red slices up, those red tax slices from each of those steps, and it comes out to $2,805 of tax on our $99,000 taxable income as the estimate for the state of California. That's from the brackets. But California does offer a few credits. One credit is they have a personal tax credit for yourself of $140. And California also offers a $433 credit for each dependent you have. Since we have 2 dependents, that comes out to $866. So $866 plus the $140 is a total credits of $1,006. So from the tax from brackets of $2,805 minus the $1,006 of credits, our estimated tax liability for the state of California comes out to $1,799. On the bottom, we have the same yellow graded charts here, same information, but just different format, in case that's easier to ingest. At the bottom here, if you would like to book some time with me to talk about your offer, about the tax brackets, about salary negotiations, whatever's on your mind, please go to my coaching page. Be happy to help you out. So let's click on the download as PDF to take a look at a downloadable, savable, printable PDF version of the data we just went over. So on page 1 of the PDF, it shows the same pie chart of summary information, starting with the total compensation of $133 on $100. Then it walks you through the gross earnings minus the total taxes, comes out to your net earnings after taxes. We have the other income, which again was a lot of subsidies. I wanted to demonstrate the value of subsidies here for that. Your costs as you estimated from commuting and other things, leaving us with that same net compensation here. Below that, on the second half of page 1, we talk about the federal tax, FICA tax, and California state tax estimates. And it's just the summary or the snapshots of the deductions and the credits for each one, and then the estimated total tax on the right half. Page 2 is where it shows those same charts broken down bracket by bracket and tax amount by tax amount. Gives you a really granular outlook on your estimated income taxes and where they come from. So, I should say also across the top, we double check that your gross earnings is correct. You did file head of household in this example. We've got 2 dependents, and it's for this tax year here. And we show the same information here for federal, FICA, and state taxes. The only thing here on the PDF is you can't hover over it because it's a PDF. It's not a JavaScript generated chart. So it shows the total amount from the brackets minus the credits you are entitled to, and leaves us with a total tax for federal, FICA, and state for California. So that's the end of the income tax analysis for your current job here. Again, these are tax estimates only. They are not actual tax liabilities. Please do consult a tax professional to get a more specific thing that's unique to your situation and additional deductions and credits that you may be entitled to. All right, let's go on to the last tab, which is the income tax analysis for the prospective job.